One of the central events in this year's Mayfest is the debut of a touring exhibition called Art from the Front Line, which features the work of artists from Angola, Botswana, Mozambique, Tanzania, Zambia and Zimbabwe. The term Frontline States was coined in the 70s, when African nations first began to win their struggle for independence. They're on the front line of South Africa's apartheid regime, which people in Africa see as their own Berlin Wall. Through the media of contemporary art, theatre, photography and film, Art from the Frontline demonstrates the continued struggle against apartheid and celebrates the regeneration of African culture.
In our culture, art has always been for a purpose. It is always, traditional songs all have been sung because there's a special reason. And all the words in it, you have to dance to, you have to dance to the real meaning of what you want to say in a song or in poetry. So really, for us, art is still dialogue.
The release of Nelson Mandela has created an atmosphere of hope, but this illusion of glasnost belies the continued unrest in the area. A recent United Nations report states that from 1980 to 1988, economic losses are estimated at $60 billion. But it's the human toll that is tragic. An estimated 1.6 million people have lost their lives, nearly 1 million of whom were children. Angola and Mozambique suffer the heaviest losses because of relentless guerrilla warfare from the Contra-style bandits Renamo and UNITA, whose activities are alleged to be backed by Pretoria, an allegation which the South African government denies.
The people in the frontline states, not actually mentioning the people inside South Africa, have really borne the brand of destabilization, aggression, death, humiliation by the aggressors, the South African regime who just walking into Angola, Mozambique, will support the rebel armies, UNITA, Renamo, not only to kill and maim people, but to remove that dignity from people. And this art and this culture that is there stands for this resistance against apartheid aggression.
All I know is that the struggle in South Africa still continues. And since we have got borders with South Africa, we have got to always be on our guard to defend our independence and to help those who are still fighting for independence in South Africa. The work, you are right, is concerning the stages that my country went through up to this present stage, from the colonial era to the war of liberation and reconstruction. And what I think is celebration, because people now are quite able to be happy as a free people, to have self-determination.
The arts don't solely centre on anti-apartheid politics. This play has the universal theme of women's rights.
She was just showing me one of her dances.
That's what is spoiling in Agatud. What do you think she's going to use a dance for?
I am writing and producing a story about my family, Baba. It's always the dance.
That's what I don't like about you, Tuli. Daydreaming. Do you think you can write a book when?
Why not, Baba? Just because I'm a girl?
Not only that, Tuli. You see, in this country, consider the books are written by teachers, graduates, and the people who have been to UK and America, not by secondary school dropouts like you, man.
Baba, I don't care what you say. I'll write my family story and dramatize it.
Truly, are you a teacher when?
No, Baba.
Are you a graduate?
No, Baba.
Have you been abroad?
No, Baba.
Then stop that nonsense. I don't want to hear you talking about your writing in this house anymore. Now,
Baba.
Marcela Costa is a well-known artist, an MP and secretary of the Angolan Women's Organisation.
A razão do aparecimento das mulheres como uma organização.
The reason for the appearance of a women's organization in Angola was, I think, firstly that all over the world women are trying to be emancipated.
As lutas de libertação.
In particular, I want to say that during the fight for independence, women had always taken part. So, after independence, in fact, even before independence, there was a need for women to be organized. It was during the War of Liberation that the Angolan Women's Organization was formed.
Libertação da independência da Angola.
Amontumisa ku Santomé, ayué, ayué. Amontumisa ku Santomé, ayué, ayué. Amontumisa ku Santomé.
Eu lidei com crianças antes de ganhar um nome.
Before I became known as an artist, I was teaching children, and I really learned a lot from the children I worked with.
E essas mesmas crianças eram
They were war refugees, and all the time you could see how aggressive they were and how the war had traumatized them.
Que elas apanharam da guerra. Porque se te pedirmos para fazer
For example, if we asked them to make a drawing, they wouldn't be capable of drawing a flower, but they could draw a tank, or a gun, or a man in a uniform. This is not the environment we want for our children. Our children want peace.
The ghost of Soweto was seen yesterday after daybreak, grinning at funeral marches, shining metal teeth jutting from red gums, were sucking the naked blood of cold people. The ghost of Soweto was seen yesterday at midday, walking through the townships, cold human flesh hanging from its lips. The ghost of Soweto was seen yesterday at sunset, howling at the moon faces of boiling and steaming people before disappearing until sunrise to the cold suburbs in Pretoria. Who? The ghost of Soweto. Thank you.
I think more has got to be put into the importance of people's culture, because now what really in Africa we're talking about, especially in citizen mind, is decolonizing of the African mind. And I wonder how one decolonizes it without not using their own cultural identity. So if you decolonize it, if you remove it, what you put in.
Thomas Mapfumo is one of Zimbabwe's top musicians, and his music draws on traditional instruments. His style of chimurenga music became popular during the War of Independence.
Most of the African states were under colonial rule, and the rest of the people were actually losing their culture and adopting a foreign culture. And then when people, started fighting for their freedom, and some states got their independence, and then the people are trying to find their true identity, which is very, very important.
There's a common denominator between our culture and the cultures of the frontline states, and we have a common struggle against a system of racial oppression and economic exploitation that we've seen in South Africa. And that is a solidarity that we need from the frontline states artists, and as cultural workers would feel very delighted and grateful if this exhibition would one day go to South Africa.
para mim.